Right. Hey, how's it going? All right, it's Mr. Deadman. This is Deadman's Tone Podcast, a live show broadcast from a trailer park deep in the heart of Meth County, Texas. I'm your host, Mr. Deadman. SK and Tammy G aren't with me tonight. That's sad. It's sad. SK is, he did Real Monsters. He did a lot of work on Real Monsters. And Tammy G, what can I tell you? I mean, she hooked up with Michael Myers and she hasn't come back yet.
I wouldn't come back either. So
no.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Myers, see ya. Fake death, start new life. Yeah.
They're pretty tight, actually. They're starting a family, from what I understand.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, little murderers and murderesses, it's important. It's important to keep that going, I think, in our society.
There's someone out there for everyone. And Michael Myers found it. All right, it was Tammy G. And now he's not going to kill anymore, okay?
Oh, well, I don't know if I approve of that. Okay. I mean, some people just got to die. Some people need on. He seems to be a good trend.
Kill on the side, I guess. Every now and then. Make a family vacation out of it.
Like a retirement hobby. Like he could do like Florida killings, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people like to go there and die, right? Like old people there.
There's some people down here in Texas, maybe, too.
Right. I think. We can have a list. If he suggests, if he gets senile and just needs a little boost, we got him covered.
Yeah, I think we have the right plan here. All right, with me tonight, our lovely guest here is Jae Mazer. How's it going, Miss Mazer?
Excellent. I don't know if I've ever in my life been referred to as lovely. I'm going to take that one. I'm going to use that as my new moniker. I think. I do want that on a name tag. It's usually I get horrific. Horrific stuff. I'm really not on homicidal daily. I mean, I work with children, so it's you know how like cases Michael Myers some days.
Damn.
No one's really called me lovely. People call me sweet. People that don't know my little writing hustle. But usually people are like, oh well, guy in the group said you're one sick bitch. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah,
it's precisely what I'm looking for. So that's who I am.
Well, that's going to happen when you write horror. At least it should, right?
And it is. I think people who read horror are not surprised by that. I'm not Marilyn Manson streets. I'm little sunny housewife suburbia that works with children is the outside image. But I read and I write horror and I watch horror and I'm a horror fanatic. So that's 9% of the time. That other 10% of the time I can really fool people.
Yeah. I mean, I had a few surprises because I write horror every now and then. Man, have you ever had it? Like, I don't know about you. Like, do you write full time? Do you have like a part-time job or a job that you have on the side?
So I have a part-time job teaching, and then write time. So the writing comes fairly lucrative. So it's something I did. I was a full-time teacher in sci-fi here in Houston, and the writing took off. So I dropped down part-time, and I'm writing and doing various things with the books, of course, anthologies, screenplays is something new in the last year. So yeah, it's a journey.
Okay. No, have you ever had it where someone at your job found your material?
Oh gosh. Yes. It was I was very transparent with my bosses when I went in, and I'm not a typical teacher from Canada for people who don't know. And we don't take issue with the bright hair colors and covered in tattoos and piercings. That's not an issue for teachers in Canada. It's an issue down here. So when I went in for the interview, I said, look, this is who I am, so you can take it or leave it. Like, I'm highly qualified for this job. Yeah. And they did it. And 90% of the parents were good with it. They were fine. But 10% were like, I'm pretty sure that you're a mad addict and I don't want you in my chop. I mean, after working with kids, they could see that I am just a teacher and I'm not teaching your children how to worship the devil and stuff. I'm actually teaching them their ABCs and whatnot, new math that you guys have down here. I don't even know what I'm teaching. But I did have one of those 10% run into me was that last year or the year before at Comic Palooza. So I guess you could say I use a pen name my teaching, because my name is Jae Mazer. That's my name. So I don't teach under that name for this very reason, because there's parents that if they were to read my stuff, I think they might think twice about bringing their kids in, which is silly. I mean, I write it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But she stumbled, she was there dressed as, probably Harley Quinn, I don't remember what it was, and came strapped on my table, and she's like, what are you, who's Jae Mazer? And I'm like, okay, so this is awkward. I'm a horror writer, and she was displeased. And she did speak to my boss about it, and I'm like, full transparency, like you guys knew what I did. I was sacrificed out at my table, but I do, it's quite clear what I write. And all I could do was really say, hey, why don't you want to buy a book? I don't know what to do, but it's getting me. Generally, not a problem. At the school I'm at now, they're considerably more conservative. But my boss knows me. She actually knows me. I taught her son at the other school. That's how I got this job.
And there you go. You have it.
So now I find it's a comedy for me to watch my boss try and dance around me. So I mean, they don't have a problem with the tattoo. They don't have any of that. But she is trying to conceal the fact that I do have this little half hustle going on the side, this horror career. And somebody at one of our trainings said, I heard somewhere that you were a writer. Would you write? I'd love to read your books. My boss is like, no, and meeting over, no chat, everybody else. Like she's really trying to. I don't think there'd be any negative connotation from it, but she's definitely hilarious watching her get all sweaty and nervous when people start asking questions. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but that puts you in a situation, right? I mean, a lot of us make the mistake of not using a pen name, and it's like, well, you're going to use your actual name because people are going to find out. I mean, that sort of situation happened with me when I was working at a psych facility at the time, at the front desk, and someone found out some of my stuff. I made the stupid mistake of actually writing some of it. Well, not really on the work computer, but I've used like a flash drive, whatever, a USB drive.
As you
store it. Yeah. So the IT guy found it, and we're talking about some colorful stuff, some brutal killings and all sorts of nasty stuff happening. And what does he do? He takes it to the HR department.
See, but why would you
department to give
me
I
don't.
Yeah,
I understand what the purpose. I understand. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable, so I'm not going to thrust my books at you. You don't read horror. This is not what I do. That being said, I'm minding my business, and I'm not sacrificing small animals in my workplace. I come dressed in suits. Like I'm not inappropriate at work. My writing's not all that inappropriate. It's entertaining. I mean. You look at things, the ridiculousness of say, and I like the latest Mission Impossible, but that's ludicrous. The Star Wars, the prequel, that's idiotic. But I mean, if someone doesn't prefer that, do you take that to the person's boss and say that's a lower intellect because they like drinking? No, you don't do that. You let people.
The other thing is, they have murder porn on mainstream media. I mean, everyone's watching these true crime documentary shows. They love seeing the slaying and the killing.
Exactly. And there is a mom at work. She's obsessed with that the Ted Bundy, not the Zac Efron that cutesy, but the Ted Bundy tapes, that one. And a girl. The guy's a savage. Like I write primarily creature. I have a serial killer book, but I write primarily creature horror. That's not going to happen. There's no slew coming down to you. It's just really entertaining to killing ways. But Ted Bundy, that's a whole level of horror, but that's acceptable in kind of affluent America. The whole serial killer fascination. And I mean, not Ted Bundy, but it fascinates me as well. In literature, of course, we have the Buffalo Bill is a very fascinating character. We have name unknown from Octavia Butler's story. So that whole serial culture is fascinating. But for some reason, it doesn't fall in the same category of horror as some of the other. I don't know if I want to call myself slasher, but horror.
Yeah, and sometimes people forget that they watch that gruesome stuff for entertainment, right? But yet when they read it, I guess the IT guy must have thought was really into that stuff, like writing, like I guess my diary or a journal.
Yeah.
Journal entries, right? And
it's funny you said that.
Oh, I was gonna say the joke's on him though. The joke's on him because he took it over to the IT boss, right? Who was not the IT boss, but the HR boss, who was my boss at the time. And it turns out, not only was she when she went to college at A&M, A&M, she was a horror freak. She was all into like zombie films. She actually did a film herself. She wouldn't say what it was. And when I told her like, I filmed some like zombie stuff on the side, did this. She was like, oh really? So it was more like I made a friend, kind of a friend, if you will. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And it really brings to light a really interesting point that there is a certain amount of shame that writers and creators in this genre are subjected to. I find it's not bad. That's really dramatic. But there is a certain element that we should be ashamed of what we're doing. And this is deviant. It's like no. People enjoy it. So I like horror because my dad liked horror. My mom hates it. But my dad liked he gave Robert McCammon Swan when I was very young. Dean Watchers. And I mean that song, that opening. Chapter two, that's horrifying. Like if you don't cringe at that, there's something.
You're broken inside. You're broken.
Yeah. Like you check the pulse probably. And I was little. I think I was 8. And then mom went away on a work trip at 8 or 9. And dad's like, "Come, child, let me school you in horror." And we sat down to watch The Exorcist and Poltergeist and Chronos for showing my age here. But all the good, all the classic. And it was fun. And he explained to me. He's like, but this is what Dread does, and blah, blah. And it's not a deviant thing. So I mean, we're well educated, we're all master's level educated. My parents, and I've never killed anyone. I mean, I don't.
Of course not.
Animal. It's just entertainment, and I think it's escapism, which is what all literature and media is really. So to have to even speaking to conventions, sometimes I find myself being apologetic. It's horror. Sure. And when I have Grandma Blue hair picking up one of my books, and she's like, fuck yeah, I want this one, and that one, because people enjoy it.
Yeah, as they should. All right, let's get more into you real fast. So, how long have you been writing?
Oh goodness! My whole life. I mean, I was always a storyteller. And I don't mean liar. I was not a liar. But I like to write. Sure. Well, I probably was a liar too. Lots of fake.
I mean, that's how you make it. That's how you become a good storyteller, right?
Well, that's it, right? You put it to use. Yeah. But I had a little notebook, I remember, and I had little stories that I used to write in it. And then I typed up a few stories, and I had this book. I put together this book. I was 7 or 8 years old. And they actually still have it around somewhere. Of all these short stories. And I typed this collection that I was going to have published. And of course, sent it in the mail. And got big rejection letters. Like, are you kidding me? But my dad was telling me, he's like, yeah, you have to write this synopsis. And they were horrible horror stories. And I read back now, but that's I've kind of always been doing that. Like I had one where a jukebox came to life and killed someone in this old bar. Just ridiculous stuff. And like this Cerebus hellhound was in my laundry room hiding in my dryer. And it would like eat all the socks and got so big that it exploded over the dryer and changed me. Like it was just...
Sounds like a Goosebumps book. I mean, come on.
Love the Goosebumps. So that's I've been writing like that forever. I guess do you call it professionally? I don't know. Do you call it? Yeah, I guess I've been writing professionally.
If you're making money on it, then it's professional.
Cash to check. So I guess that's...
There you go.
My first was oh gosh. 6 years ago or 7 years ago. We moved here. From Canada, and I couldn't work, of course, visa status. I'm like, I'll just write some more. And that took off, and I loved it. And I never in a million years dreamed that I would be published. So I had short stories, and I was submitting anthologies and doing all this, and could wallpaper my wall with the rejections at that time. And I had sent a manuscript to a UK publisher because a lot of the feedback I was getting was you're spelling things incorrectly. You have a lot of U's where they don't belong, like I'm Canadian, so we like pepper everything with those. And the dialect culture was very different. So I started sending more international, and I finally got a response from Another World Books in the UK, and she's like, I like this. That's great. She said, if you can come back to me with two publications in an anthology, let's do this. And so I did. I was hell-bent on getting something published. And so I got two separate publications that accepted short stories, and went back to her and said, boom. She's like, all right, let's do this. And they published six of my books.
Okay.
And I still work alongside them. I still have the contract with them. I have self-published my latest few. They are small press in the UK. And she's very amenable to this. I'm thinking I need something more local based. And that's now that I know the process, I'm doing it myself. So, and she's been really helpful. She's been helping opening channels and getting me in places, kind of marketing books that aren't even hers. So shout out Claire at Nether World Books for that. So
okay.
It's been a good experience. It's been a really good experience.
So you've been working you've been working through a publisher, but you also self-published as well.
Yeah. So I'm having a look at my book. So Crone is self-published.
Mm-hmm.
I have a short story collection called Beautiful Beasts that's self-published as well. I did write a serial book, my only one that's not beasts or supernatural, with my father. She actually, I want to say it's self-published, but she helped me with that. My dad's very sick at the time, and we were trying to put the book out quickly. And she said, let's do this. She said, so she took the book, and Lisa Vasquez just Smile Publications helped cover. So she did my cover for me, and my publisher did her editors go through it at the speed of light. It was 100 cogs working. And we got that out. So it was.
Your father's an author as well?
He is not. He was a writer, but he was an administrator, school administrator. But he always wanted to be a writer. So he would always encourage me to write. He said, what is this teaching stuff? Like, do you want to write? So it's actually his first published work was this book we did together. So I have another manuscript of his that he wrote. It's more of a spec fic. I don't know if I want to call it science fiction. Spec fic / thriller horror that I have in my possession. So I'm looking at I probably will look to get that published in the next few years for him. So
okay. Right. So let's talk about your new book you have right here, Crone, A Witch's Tale. Let's talk about that real fast. So tell me about the book. Yeah.
That's near and dear to my heart. That I had a lot of fun writing that. So that came from it's a witch story. Mm-hmm. But not a traditional witch. She doesn't wiggle her nose again. I'm not slamming bewitch, anything like that. But I like.
She's a good witch now.
Yes. I mean, I like Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman and all that jazz. People like Sabrina, but that's not my style. And not that I don't enjoy watching that as well. No, I've never seen Hocus Pocus. Everybody can
like Hocus Pocus?
I know people. I say that. I don't know why I've never seen it, but people are aghast when I say that. I kind of know. I just not that I didn't never wanted to. I never did, and now I don't want to. So. I don't know. Maybe I'll see. But Crone started from my brother and sister quite a bit older than me. And my sister's an asshole, like myself. And she terrorized my brother. And we have base in Canada. She convinced that there was a witch living under our stairs. She's like, there's this horrible, fat, naked creature witch living under our stairs. And she's covered in moss and sludge. And like basements are cold and dank. Anyways. And could I be in the horror fan of whatever, like bring it on and go down and have a talk with her. And he would go down the stairs, and I'm too young to remember how long, but Mom said it was like a year or two. He had trouble descending those stairs, thinking that there was a witch underneath where I was more fascinated. He would go down our stairs, as I exactly describe in the book, you go into a cement floor laundry room. And you have some pump stuff in there. So it's really horror movie water is what those basements are. They're terrible. And then the other side, you have a storage room, which is literally that it uses the outside temperature to keep your food cold. Like Canada's a ton there. So that whole thing is just so creepy. There's a good story. Forgot all that I was a little kid.
Yeah, in Texas, I don't think they have that, a cold storage room.
No,
It's too hot.
Or anything. But yeah, so I thought of this. What if there really is a witch under the stairs? And this is it's a two-part book. So part one is a girl. I just have it a girl, and she is convinced there's a witch living under her stairs. And you're asking yourself, the first part of the book is she's a little kid. She's scared. You could explain almost everything away. I won't give any spoilers again. But the second half of the book, she's an adult, like a functioning adult, living on her own, and still wondering, is there something? Is there something following me around? And it's more, I like the more mystical witches. I think there's two very different types of witches in both literature and film. And you have the more comedic witches and the more pop culture witches, like these. Is it the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus? I shouldn't even talk about that. I haven't seen it. But like the witches of Eastwick.
I believe you're right.
Even the craft was a little bit darker, but it's still, those are pop culture witches. Which is not. Yeah. And they're more functional people in society, men and women. Even Hermione Granger, right? So you have these witches that are human and they can do things. They're like, you know what? They're like X-Men. Those witches are like X-Men. So we have those kind of witches.
Okay.
And then you have the feral creature witches that are a different breed of thing altogether that just can't be. And they don't function the same and they don't subscribe to the same biological rules as us. Where I took this story that, it's not just has powders and all that kind of stuff, is that eats raw animals and she doesn't understand.
Okay.
Clothing, because why would she understand clothing? Like, she's a creature. She lives in the woods. Looks hominid. She's biped. You could mistake her for a very large human, but it's a different creature altogether. And where I kind of gravitated to that idea was, and let me be clear, not a big vampire fan. Don't like vampires.
You don't like vampires?
I don't like vampires. I don't.
Is there one vampire that you do like?
I do. There's one vampire that I do like. I shouldn't say that there's two. I am a fan of Bram Stoker. Dracula. Even the campy Keanu Reeves. He's my people. He's my countryman. I have support. It's a dirt, but I support. I did like that. I do like the book. So that's good. But the iteration of vampires seems to be this homoerotic, really beautiful man that dabs blood, or woman, I suppose. Sorry. That dabs blood off their very ivory skin, and everything's beautiful. And it's a very sensual, sexual vampire. And witches are the same way. Like witches are.
I know what you mean. Like when I watched what was it? Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
I think I know.
And I love Anne. Obviously, she's a pioneer in the vampire field. That's a thing. Is it horror? Are we really like they? Are we really?
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, does Anne Rice even count as horror? Is she?
I don't know.
She has vampires.
She's got vampires, and our vampires horror. So this is where my line.
Yeah, Lestat talks to a devil. Mimok the devil. He talks to Satan.
Yeah, and so that's more. Those are the right lines. But she started writing quite a bit of erotica, and that just carried her into her the vampire. So she had the Sleeping Beauty series. I can't remember the title on it now.
But she also had a witch series.
She did have the witch. They were very much like vampires, where they were these sensual, beautiful beings that they had to drink blood for their beauty. It was very much. It was all sexually based, which is a different creature than I guess the vampire I like, which is 30 Days a Night.
That's a good one. That's a good one right there.
It was a three comic series. There's mini-series which of course they turned into that movie, which I equally love.
The movie's good. I think it's underrated.
People hated that movie, and I'm like, what are you hating about this movie?
I think they hated because the vampires are savage and brutal, and I think people were expecting like underworld type vampires,
They didn't twinkle. They didn't have existential
I don't know twinkle, but at least some people like them looking hot. Like The underworld, I'll take that. But
okay, yeah, I was going to turn down Celine. Like I wouldn't.
No one was going to turn down Celine.
Yeah.
I mean,
but these the feral vampires, and I mean they're the way the man and the woman vampire talking to each other, and the way they're moving, and they're just horrifying, gross creatures that are almost like manic zombies in a zombie movie. Chasing people around, and there's slaughter. Let's go here because we have 30 nights of slaughter. It's like a buffet. So they're really. I mean, they should be fat vampires, right? But it's a great concept. That's I like vampires like that. I like my witches. Messy and dirty and feral. So that's where I went with Crone. And I've had a generally positive reaction to that. I've had some people. I had a review on Amazon. It's down now. I don't know why the review was taken down. It was a
sometimes.
It was a bad review. It was a 2-star review. And so I'm like, well, okay, let's read this. And she's like, this is horrific. This is horror. What have you done to this witch? And I'm like, well, I mean, I clearly say in the blurb, like this is visceral story of horror and a witch. I mean, it's not a happy cover on the book. But she was really shocked by the amount of horror in the book. So there is a different
connotation. You can tell by the cover. The cover gives it away. Look at her.
Like I never have puppies on the cover, so I'm not. So I do try and make people aware that my witch isn't going to click her heels. I guess that was Dorothy, but I mean, this is not Glenda. This is not Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock dancing and drinking margaritas.
Practical magic. Oh man, that's a good one too.
Like my witch is gonna fuck you up, and she's gonna eat your dog. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Like that's what she does. So
and there's a place for that too. I like that.
Yeah. She doesn't eat the dog. I think she doesn't eat a dog. She eats a wolf. But I mean, okay.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Sorry.
What about a cat? Does she eat a cat?
She didn't eat a cat. There's no cats.
You need more cats. You need her to eat a cat.
It's a witch. She should have a cat. I'm not really a cat person. So I didn't put it. That never occurred to me till just now when you said that. I have no cats in that book.
You know what you're doing? You're breaking out of cliches. You're breaking out of stereotypes. That's what you're doing. You did not even use a cat for that purpose. That's why.
I totally thought that through when I
No. But okay. So I like this. It's a very feral witch. She's more of a monster. Well, witches are monsters.
She's a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's definitely a monster. She's a beast.
Far from bewitched. She's not granting any spells for you. She's not a housewife. She will wreck your world up. Okay.
Well, and I think that it works too because, and in doing and I researched a little tiny bit of witches when I went through because I like to amuse myself when I write and put in little Easter eggs throughout my books of like I'll name a town or a street after an actual person who was burned as a witch and things like that. And no readers are ever going to get that. But I like to amuse myself clever. So I did that. And looking at witches through history, you have your two different types of witches, and this is not really one of them that's very prevalent in culture. You don't have a lot of feral witches. We saw a little bit of it in that movie Witch that came out. How long ago? It was 2 years ago. So that's closer to what I'm going for. Like that woman was a beast. We never really see much of her other than when she's seducing the young son, and that's really her. The closest witch in pop culture I can think of to her would be Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That old thing with the nails and eyeballs. The Cher witch. Yeah, love her. I identify with that one. So she's my people. But witches in history are more. It's a political construct. Like you look back and it's all
like the Salem witch trials. Like we're gonna get rid of these people who don't have some property.
We need to call some of the people who cause trouble. So you're a witch. If you float, deal with this. But even like in Canada, we're not innocent of that as well. We have two really high profile witches. And one was this. Been a while since I looked at this love song, and she was burned in Quebec stake. And around the time of Salem, and the records of course like what made her a witch. Like she poisoned her husband. And I'm like, well, I mean,
what did her husband do?
It's like Really sounds provoked. And the other one was La Carnival, which she was the first person to be hanged. The first woman to be hanged for witchcraft in Canada. The Québécois, the French hung her. And you look back at her crimes, and it was the same. She used to go in.
It goes down to it, right? It boils down to that.
And it's mostly poison. So they accused her of trying to poison the aristocrats and the royal family and that were in Canada and all that stuff. So it's basically like you're a female serial killer, I guess. Like you kill people, so they're calling you a witch and burning you. So there's not really anything supernatural. People try to attribute supernatural things. A lot of it was driven by the church. I mean, if you have or perform an abortion, boom, witch, light that on fire. So I shied away from that because I'm not interested in the politics or bringing a witch like that in and trying to make a political statement in my books. I just want to create
but it's true. It's true, especially what you said about religion. If you do any position other than missionary, it would be burned.
Well, and that's it. Like, we had all of the
you got to keep it basic.
Exactly.
In the old text.
And French. I mean,
if you're French, you're
right. So a lot of and that was all the women are accused of adultery, and there was a bartender, Lamarck. I named the town in my book called Lamarck. It was after Marie Lamarck in Quebec. She was burned for she was a tavern. She had a bar, and she fucked all her customers. I guess you do when you have a bar in the 1600s. And they're like,
well, I mean, they give you better tips that way.
I mean, the tips must have been badass, I gotta say. But she was burned for that business because obviously there's no other explanation than she was a witch. So
okay, you know what though? I bet you like the judge or someone there was there, and like she didn't sleep with him, and he got all pissy about it and was like, okay.
That's it. And he's like, I don't actually want to pay for the beer. I just want the sex. Okay, so you're a witch. Because my manhood is hurt and tie you to this.
Because all those cases, if we go through all of them, I bet you they boil down to, and we're on the right page here, I think, something else. Definitely something other than witchcraft. It's being like, it's a widow who has property. Okay, let's get rid of her and take her property. Oh, she killed a man. Oh, women can't kill men. Let's get rid of her. You know, she's having too much sex. Let's get rid of her. Oh man, all sorts of stuff.
And it's fascinating thing because you look through kind of the records of even Salem and then the British and French witch burnings and the trials. And it's all stuff like that. It's like she poisoned with magical herbs. It's like no, bitch, that was cyanide. Like she's not a witch. She's a murderer. The other thing was a lot of Canadian records are a bit flawed, kind of doing a little research there. And that's the women they were persecuting and hanging for these crimes were put up in gibbets, which is those. I don't know what a gibbet is. It's like they hang you from gallows or they put you in a cage. It's the executioner's poles when they behead people, but it's actual poles. And they would hang them from a cage, which is what they were doing in Salem. So people were like, well, it must be a witch because they executed her like that. And it's really they just hung her in a cage so she didn't rot and kept her till winter, and then kept smell. But that kind of was attributed to must be a witch. She's hanging from a gibbet.
Okay, and this research into the Salem witch trials and the I guess what do you call the witch trials in Canada?
We call it a Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday?
I don't know. I don't think there was any official term. There was a lot of unrest between the English and French at that time. So it did get mixed in. The eyes were turned to Salem as well. So it was one of those the French. Politics and religion. They were trying to get power. So they're like, the opposition came across.
So the research on your Tuesdays and the Salem witch trial, that goes into your book?
No. So that was also a waste of your time.
No. But it's information though, because you said though that the names would become like something.
They are. So every person in that book, their name, although it's not direct, is derivative of something from mostly Canadian, British, French history of witches. Lamarck was the one that was hung by gibbet. the first one to be executed, and that's what I named my town. So the town in the story is Lamarck. I have in owners Charles and Marie, which were a couple. She was convicted of killing. That's not who they are in the book, but that's the names that I gave them based on them. So she was, I think she cut off his penis and choked him with it. There was something. And so witch, right? And
Lorena Bobbitt would be a witch. Hold on here.
She would totally be a witch. She would totally be a witch. And I think I don't know as much about American folklore with that, but we looked. I love Blair Witch. Camping was really big in Canada, so that movie freaked me out. And the witch that they mention, and they talk about Maud Dyer. I looked that up a little bit, this book, and she wasn't a witch. She was a crazy person. And they murdered. She was murdered. She was kind of lynched and chased out of town there. And people were like, oh, she roams the woods. So she's become more of a ghost story. She's become a Bloody Mary. So that's I like that version of a witch as well. I didn't end up using it in this book. I wanted to stay focused. And I don't have 80 witches running around, so it's a few. But yeah, so I looked into it a little bit, but it's mostly just for fun, Easter eggs and names and getting a good, well-constructed witch to represent.
Now, are there things that you had to research for your book to get your witch the way you wanted to? I know you talked about the types of witches that we see a lot of, but I mean, are there other things I know there's a whole Wicca thing related to witches. There's a whole I guess there's certain stereotypes and cliches people expect, certain spells and what they.
And I researched that mainly to avoid it because I didn't want for two reasons. One, I'm not knowledgeable enough about it, and there's always somebody out there, and it's usually a science fiction fan or spec fiction that's no. This is how the runes work, and this is how the leather tie works, and this is. So I didn't want to get real specific into the Wiccan business, the New Age witch.
You're right about that. In sci-fi and especially young adult. If you go young adult, man, they will tear you up for the long games.
I don't know what the fuck the color of the rope was. Or those little details are uninteresting to me.
Oh man, it's crazy. Young adult fantasy, they will tear you up.
It is intense, and I admire that. I'm a reader. I read a lot. I just don't pay that much attention. I don't read fantasy, so I like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. But I tell you what they were wearing and all the names, things like that. There.
Some people they go too far. I like fantasy too, but some people go way too far, and they will analyze the races of a fictional world and relate it to the races of our real world and be like, oh, you just made a big problem, bro. It's like, what?
It's like, why can't a story just be a story? It's just a story. And that's the thing. And that's actually I stole that. That's stolen. Plagiarized. That's a Stephen King quote. He said that in It, which I love that book. Bill Denham said that in his university classes. Why do we gotta follow all these? Why can't I just write a story? Does everything have to be politically motivated? And when you're creating a fantasy, it's not like the Dark Crystal. Yes, I'm a nerd. I love that new Dark Crystal.
I haven't seen it.
Age of Wisdom. People, it's epic. There's some torture in that. Surprised me. Loved it. But people are like, oh, it's a statement on race. And I'm like, no, it isn't. It isn't. Like they're puppets in this mythical and there's a Dark Crystal and these horrible badass Skeksis, hell beasts. This is not a commentary on race. This is not. Nobody's making a commentary on race here. This is just fantasy, which means is fantasy. There isn't a thraw anywhere. This isn't Moloch or Pittsburgh. This is, it's imagination. And I think we can find political motivations in any art, in any literature, and any film. We can make it what we want to, which is a good thing. But then you get toxic fandoms that are displeased.
I mean, there's a whole industry of over analyzing fantasy. Or when I say fantasy, I mean just fiction. Period. There's a whole industry, people. Various YouTube channels dedicated to just over analyzing video games and culture and movies and comics and stuff. It's like what people do, but now people over analyze to the point to where they get offended. It's like, whoa, wait until you guys start doing that with horror, because I think it's already happened. I don't know if it has. I must
It's
have missed it.
a little bit. Again, I find horror fans. We had been talking about this before. That they're a little more chill, which seems an oxymoron because horror is quite intense. But we just like the entertainment, and we realize there's not really any truth value to horror. I mean, sometimes it does. It has to reflect real life to an extent. It needs to scare us. Horror needs to make us uncomfortable, so we have to relate to it, even if it's absurd creature. But we don't get bogged down in the details. Sam Raimi and his campiness. And he just that movie come out.
Oh, I'm losing you.
Crawl exactly what it is. And it's not better not be my internet. Let me tell you.
No, I think it's stop. I saw a little bleep on my side too. It's okay. You're good.
We're good. See, we're talking about horror. It's the ghost. Must be go. I didn't use my magic potion made of sparkles and vampire blood or whatever it is. So with this gator, I mean, you see the trailer came out this summer. It's like so Gator's gonna fuck some people up in a hurricane, and that's exactly what the movie was. It was a horror movie, and it's entertaining, and everyone's like, oh, there could have been more story, and there should have been the relationship with her father. I'm like, it's Sam Raimi who the dead, driving me to know what we're getting into with Sam Raimi. Badass movie, and he created really good thread there in the opening hour, and those gators fucked people up. That's precisely what he was selling, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. That being said, I mean, there was a huge backlash. I don't know if you've talked about this on another podcast, or we discussed it about Midsummer. I really enjoyed that movie.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that. No, I haven't seen that one. But that's okay. You're not gonna. Yeah, don't worry about spoiling it.
There's no spoiler. I mean, it's a cult, and that's the thing. You get what you know what you're going into by seeing the preview, and it's really unsettling. It's really Ari Aster is really graphically violent in his movies, and people go in and they have a problem with that. And it's like, well, he said I like trauma, and it makes people extremely uncomfortable, and that's why he uses children. Midsummer uses elderly people. It's like that. To me, that's brilliant horror, because horror should take somewhere that makes you really uncomfortable. It should make you squirm your seat. And I don't mean just torture for the sake of torture, but you want to be able to. It's something out of the norm. Something that should be safe for you, like the elderly, like children, like puppies, like kittens, like
not the puppy, no. You always get those people on Facebook or Twitter. Don't kill the dogs. I'm gonna kill 2 dogs now. You watch it.
Yeah. Tell me no dog. I'm gonna kill an even smaller dog. Bigger
story. I'm gonna throw puppies in a meat grinder. Oh shit! Oh.
Puppy sausage. Yeah. I mean, there's horror that makes people uncomfortable, right? And that's what we do as horror creators. We make people uncomfortable. And one of the funniest things. So this isn't funny. I don't know why we use that term, but crone.
Okay.
I'm going to spoil a little bit. This doesn't really spoil anything. But somebody loses a penis in a very violent way in this book. We have
okay.
When who loses a leg and she's dancing, it's a ballerina, and there's blood spraying everywhere. So we're some really visceral scenes. The complaint I had from people was that the main character, protagonist, is a little girl who runs into the woods and gets very scared. And she runs in and finds what she thinks is the witch's hut, or the witch's cabin. And she soils herself. And people are horrified by this.
Because she pisses herself? Or
yeah. I'm like, I just lopped someone's dick off. And you're concerned because she Peter Pan. It's and I was quite descriptive about that for a reason, because that was her fear, and I mean that made really vulnerable. That was really uncomfortable for her. Like that was a really this is an 11-year-old girl doing this in the so that's where people are finding horror in what I write, because I lop a lot of stuff, but I also try and make it like what would make really uncomfortable. Would want.
I mean, you love a lot of stuff, but that's what they get offended by. They get offended by piss pants.
Like I exsanguinated 3 children in Chrysalis and Clan. I hung them by their ankles, and people are like, did you have to cut the cat's tail off? I'm like, oh, geez. Like I killed three human children. Three human children. The cat is your concern. But I mean, okay.
Yeah, it's like the same people who are worried about the dogs, and of course they're worried about the pets. They're worried about the little things. You can have a graphic scene, all sorts of death and mayhem going on.
Yeah.
But you have a little girl pissing her pants. Oh no! Have a cat's tail chopped off. Oh no! Have dogs be thrown in a meat grinder. Oh no! You got, grandma can't make it across the street without getting hit by a truck. Oh no! It's like okay.
And that's the elderly thing. So my witch is naked. I mean, she's a witch. She's big. Like she's Brienne of Tarth big. She's 7 feet tall and big and flopping around. Really descriptive with the nudity of her because that's uncomfortable. And
she has some roles. Like she has
she's got all the roles. She's got
body positivity going on.
She's got high plate nipples. She's got all that.
Big areolas.
A giant. And
areolas.
I'm like the boob is making you up. Like seriously, that's making you up. She literally just ate somebody raw, and you're concerned about a boob. Like it's a boob. I mean, I'm not sure the problem is. But
you should write a scene where she smothers someone with her under boob, just like.
Why did I think of that? She could have got three people under there. Like big creeps.
You are hilarious. This is great.
There's a story in that thing. But people. I actually got someone comment on that at a Comic-Con after it was released and say, couldn't she just put like a logo over her? I'm like, with the giant uneven long nipples on you? Like, but I mean, she's killing everybody she comes, but you're really upset about her nudity. I mean, whatever. That's good. I'm glad
you're right about that. She wouldn't be wearing clothes. Why would she boot clothes? It's kind of like.
No, what does she care what Betsy down the road thinks she strolls across the lane? Like she doesn't care. She just wants to eat her some living things, and she. I'm not going to give any away, but the beasts in my stories, or the monsters in my stories, are never the monsters. They're never the bad guys. So you'll love the way.
I think.
So
I read a little bit of Crone. I'm thinking too far, but what I could say is it starts off amazing. Like you have a way it's right from the start. It goes right to the juggler. I mean,
thank you.
Have the main character Abby going into a situation that a creepy uncle. What the hell is going on? She goes down to the basement and it's like, oh my god, how far she can go with the scene.
Yeah, and I always try and say, I'm not going to spoil it for you. If you read it, I try and take it right to the edge where like, don't you write this. And I do with that. Crone has several satisfying endings to several characters in that. But in order for it to be satisfying, there needs to be that discomfort as well. In order for it to be horrifying, I mean, if there's an unhappy ending, which I have a very unhappy ending in one of my books.
So you create a balance with that, like that creepy uncle. You don't have to spoil what happens to him. That's fine. I wouldn't want you to, but it's like there's different that situation. The tension's high. Like it's like okay, there's two lines away from what I think is happening here. It's getting closed back and up against a wall and all that stuff. And then it stops. And by the way, Abby's getting beat down left and right. Like
she's not having a good time. And I mean, you can piss her off. She might know a witch. So I mean, I hope that works out for everyone who wants to tramp.
I don't know if you ever played like Dungeons and Dragons. I barely did either. But the reference I'm coming right now is like she has the worst luck ever. Like she has like.
She does. She's very
in her favor. You know what I'm saying? There's a scene I think it was in the second chapter where she like literally busted her own mouth just for trying to get away from get out from her desk. That's crazy. Worst luck. Yeah.
It's she never there's no real happy story for Abby through the entirety. I won't spoil it, but she's got the worst luck. And I did take the story to critiques with me. Like I'm working with a female child, and you do have to be sensitive about that. That has some really shit stuff going on in her life. But I want that tension to be at a fever pitch. But I still want it to be respectful. Like I don't want to be gratuitous with that part. Like there's going to be death and mayhem throughout this book. But it's not going to be. I just want to comfort the girl, and then I want. Visceral horror in a different location. So We tried to marry the two, and it worked out.
All right. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the feedback has been good, right?
Yes. Other than some people complained that it was horror, and I was like, what?
I don't know what they were thinking.
Romance. Because I was Amish romance. I'm not sure what you think that is, but my version.
I mean, I'm looking right here on the Amazon page. I'll put it back on the screen real fast. For those listening to the podcast, check it out. A Crone, A Witch's Tale. I think, 5 stars? 5-star? Yeah,
5 stars.
5 out of 5.
Yeah. She's won awards, which are unusual for a horror book. I took best novel in the American Book Fest, which they usually shy away from stuff like that. You see that with movies. Horror movies, they're usually like, I don't prefer that. But I mean, it's a horror fairy tale in a way, but it's horror. Like there's horror to it, but it's a kind of ethereal fairy tale.
Okay.
So it's a contradiction. I know.
Well, actually, I mean, the origin of fairy tales isn't very nice either. I mean, the traditional fairy tales are very brutal and
they're bad.
Not kids tales at all. You know.
No. I have that book, the Grimm's. The original, like the Grimm's tales, and they're that's straight up horror for children. And I mean, I love it, but it is what it is. It's not the beautiful fairy tales that Disney has made it out to be. You know, so much as the Ice Queen, Frozen, of course, Elsa. That's not pretty story. There's no sparkling hair and dresses and badass murderous shit. No story. But good for Disney. For cash in. I mean, you turned it pretty and got to hear that song.
That's what they're going to do. They milk everything. They milk everything to death.
They
your fairy tales, your Star Wars, your Marvel,
and Star Wars. You got money. George Lucas, you're fine. You know, move aside. Let someone else have a go. You got your money. That's like Stephen King, and I do love King, and I actually like Joe Hill. But come on, can one family dominate all this horror money?
Yeah, right.
Put it right. Some for the rest of us. Damn, they're good.
Yeah, I did a video. Actually, was it a video? I think it was a stream where I actually asked a question. I think it was a video. Should Stephen King, does he owe us a shout out? I mean, I don't think he owes us any shout out or anything.
I mean, do I feel entitled to a shout out? Of course.
Of course, we would all feel that if we want to be honest.
I don't. That's a tricky because I've had people after my fourth book. I've had people come up to me at convention and be like, "Hey, I have this great novel. Do you think you can give me a shout out to the publisher?" And I'm like, better. Do that. And 9 times out of 10, I'll take a book from someone like a short story and read it and be like, "Oh, that's you tried. That's really good." I'm not the be all end all of a critique or I'm not touching house. But once in a while, I mean, there's someone I met someone at Scary Dad's their very first year, and she said, I write, and I have nothing. No one's ever read what I've written, and oh, great, yeah, sure. Like, I'll read it. I want to be encouraging, and I read this thing, and I'm like, girl. What are you doing? Get yourself a publishing house. Try and do something. Let's do this. So I crawled up her ass and got her to do some stuff and get more involved in writing. Now she has her book coming out next year. I don't know if I can shout her out.
Look at that. You helped her out.
This is Des Byers. You'll see her. She's getting published with Stitch Smile. But girl can write. She can write. And this is one of those. Stephen King of all the people that are throwing stuff at you, maybe one or two are worth your time. But I mean, he probably gets 100 manuscripts a day trying to be like, hey, can you tweet books? So yeah, if I was King, I'd be like, knock off, like I'm whatever. I'm just rolling around in my money today.
Yeah, I'm working on something here. One of many things. Okay, do you have are we breaking up? Or are you good? Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. Do you have a paranormal experience? Have you ever had a paranormal experience? Oh man, I think
kind of.
Okay.
I think it's like
all right, let me cut off the
exercise. Are we good? We're good.
Yeah, we're good now. It's OBS is acting weird. Okay.
I years ago, whenever that came out, I watched The Exorcism of Emily Rose. And I quite like that movie. It's a different kind of horror movie, but I like that kind of the judicial horror movie and the trying to figure out who done it. And they have the whole thing about 3 a.m. being the witching hour, and that's when everybody's most receptive, blah, blah, blah. So we have a few drinks, and watch the movie, go to bed. 3 in the morning around ish. I mean, whatever. I was woken out of dead sleep by what sounded like a woman screaming, and I'm like, oh, this is the night we die. This is great. And it was just really clear, and I'm like, oh no, it's my dog. I had a big black at the time, and I go, it's got to be this, the dog. And so I flick on the light, and there's the dog lifts her head off her mat, which is screaming business in the middle of the night. And I'm like, it still seems like that's something more to me. So that's it. That will turn into a book one day, I think.
So you were woke up in the middle of the night by a scream.
It sounded like a woman screaming, and it continued. It wasn't just like one scream. And when I sat up in bed, I was like, oh, it must be my dog, like squealing. Something's killing her. And when I flicked on the light, it was clearly not her. She was zonked out, her big potato lump ass on her dog mat next to the bed, and she kind of opened one eye. I'm like, okay.
Do you know who it was or what it was?
No, not a clue. And I mean, it's one of those I still don't know because I had just watched that movie and it was 3 a.m, and you know how your mind gets going. But I was in a dead sleep, and I woke up I was awake, turning on that lamp. So there was a noise.
How long ago was this?
Oh, 8 years ago. I was in Canada. Yeah,
you were in Canada 8 years ago in Canada, and were you home alone?
I was not.
Okay.
I was not. I was with my partner at the time. So,
is your partner still alive?
He is still here. Yes.
Okay.
Well, for now, I haven't murdered him yet. He heard it too. So I mean, when I ask if he's alive, I mean more than a weekend at Bernie's. Okay. Is he alive, or is he just prop him up? Functionally, does he have a pulse? He does have a pulse.
Okay.
As far as I know, there's still a pulse there. So it's, and he heard it as well. So he's like, what's wrong with the dog, kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't know. She's possessed by a demon. I don't know what to tell you. Shut the light off. I'm tired. So there was something, and he was a big skeptic. Like, he was an engineer. So there was something really odd there.
Did your neighbor, did you have neighbors at the time?
Not close. It's Canada. So no, I mean, it's nothing that they would have heard, not within range.
Like maybe it was a banshee.
I kind of wish it was. Banshees are badass. Banshees are badass.
Well, you say that, but wouldn't they be annoying? They just scream all the time, all the time.
They
right?
wail, but they only wail when someone's going to die. So you hear a banshee wailing, either someone's death is impending, and if it's my own, I mean, it's been a good run, and I don't have to listen to her wail for very long. And if it's someone else,
that's why people die. They died because of the wailing, right?
Right. So, I mean, if someone's going to die, I hope it's someone on my list. Like, maybe that's a good thing. So, yeah, I don't mind banshees. I'd like a pet banshee, I think. I could do that.
A pet banshee? I don't even know what you'd feed it. Would you feed it souls? You're like, I don't know what you do with that.
I could feed it souls. I mean, I could work that out. I mean, as long as she kept the shit down when I'm watching a movie. It's like, could you take your wailing?
I thought you meant shit. Like, I don't know if banshee shit. I don't know what ghost shit would be like.
That would be a weird, because they really don't eat. They just wail around, right? They're these wafy kind of gossamery. I have a banshee in a story coming out.
You have a banshee story coming out?
Kind of.
Okay.
I know it's with another publisher. I don't know if I can discuss it at this point, but yes, I do. It's not. There's banshees in the story. It's a story about the Slua. It's a novella. A Slua, it's an Irish folklore horror creature. Said that it's the Catholic Church came up with it. That when people are being read their last rites, the Slua, like a flock of crows, they're like an entity that flies around, flies in through the window and steals the soul before the church can release it. So they get these souls. And so I wrote this story about a woman, again, no spoilers, she gets taken by the Slua. And it's not during a Catholic rites, it's modern day and whatever. And she ends up in this netherworld of nothing that the Slua actually perch at. And it's this kind of hellscape before you actually go on to wherever you're going on. And it's full of Slua and banshees, and there's a gorgon there, and all this stuff that kind of like, hey, this is where we hang out when we're not doing our business back in the living world. So the whole thing takes place in a 3-day span in this Ramrock place that the Slua has taken her to. So it was a fun story, and my banshees are badass Irish women that drink a lot. So it was fun. It was a fun story, and I'm hoping to see that out in the next little while. I don't have details on it yet.
I was wondering how you know so much about banshees. You actually did your research on them.
I did my research on the banshees, yes. So I picked the Slua and the banshees because they're both Irish in origin. So I tried to keep those guys together. And yeah, it's like, what would the Slua do on a night off? Like, they fly together as a flock, and they resemble giant crow women. And then you have these banshees who wail around. So yeah, they're going to hang out, and this is what they're going to do. This is like their day off when they clock out. What are these people doing in the afterlife? Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like my folklore. I hope I don't wear it.
What is you said a gorgon?
A gorgon, yeah, like Medusa.
The Medusa, okay, yeah.
Where she, you look at people and they turn to stone, which is really shitty. You're trying to make friends, and you can't really look at them. See, like it's a tricky business.
Oh, so are they like roommates? They're like the worst. I can't make friends. I turn everybody into stone, and the banshee's just crying all the time.
Yeah, the banshee's crying. So I have 2 banshees. I have a young banshee and then her older sister, who's this crotchety old woman, and she's over the crying, so she just laughs at everybody. So we have a laughing banshee and a crying banshee. And the young one's wailing, and the older one's like, for fuck's sake.
And you're not making this up. This is legit. This is in your story.
This is the story. This is the story.
This is great. Yeah. This is great stuff. I like this. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I did my latest book, which actually, so Crone came out a year ago, more than a year ago. That's last May. So I have a book coming out end of October that's full of folklore. Like I'm on that kick right now, and I just went wild, crazy. So I have those guys in there too.
And what is the name of this story, by the way?
The story that's being published.
Yeah. Are you allowed to say? Sure, I mean, you didn't sign an NDA or anything. I mean, I
have not signed anything at this. It's in negotiations right now. Okay. I have it called A Feather and Flesh.
Okay.
So, all right. I will update that, of course, on all my sites. We're in the contract signing stage right now with it, so I just don't want. It's in an anthology. And although it's a novella, it's 20,000 words. We have 5 women contributing to this anthology, and the point was to have dark fae.
You also have another. Is this a book? Or is it a collection of short stories? Beautiful Beasts.
Beautiful Beasts is my collection of short stories. So that was short stories that I had kind of accumulated over a 2 or 3 year period, and I flirt them together in a book because I had a theme going. Every story of mine had a beast of some sort. Lots of stories about hellscapes. I don't have a werewolf in them.
You need more hellscapes.
All the hellscapes. I like me some hellscapes. I have an old woman who's just terrible. She dies in there. Oh. So, I mean, I have a lot of weird, unconventional beasts in that book.
Nice and friendly old ladies? Cool.
Yeah.
Bitter, grumpy old ladies? Get over it. You're going to die soon. So you might better...
And that was her. Her name was Muriel, and the story in that book is called Lucky Number 48. And she's at a trade show, and she drives one of those rascals, like the motorized things you see at Walmart. And she's terrible, and she's wearing a polyester jumpsuit.
Wait. I have to ask.
I'm not kidding you.
How much body positivity does she have?
I mean, Muriel knows what she wants, and she wants her that black, purple velour jumpsuit that she's wearing. And
oh my God, does she mainline like Twinkie, like the Twinkie cream into her veins or something? Yeah. Like, what is going on?
Like, this is her. She's eating chicken fingers, like drowning in a vat of ranch at this trade show, this boat show or whatever it is. And Satan kills her. I mean, he's had enough, and Muriel dies. Yeah. So it's a piece of flash fiction. It's really short, but I had a lot of fun with that one too. And I just modeled Muriel after, we all know that old lady in Walmart that's just like, watch this. die.
It makes you wonder how she got there, right?
Yeah. Like what choices did you make in your life that this is what?
Yes. I mean, anyone who honestly when you people watch, come on, you do, people, come on. And you see someone, you're just like, what's their life story? How did they get there? And I don't even mean that like to make fun. I'm just like curious, like how did you get there?
Oh, and that's like me. And I mean, I see people like that. I say that to myself sometimes.
Yeah.
I have an unfortunate story. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if it's unfortunate, of my shenanigans at this year's Texas Frightmare. And as I was drinking a drink that had mustard in it, it's a really long story. I'd had many drinks. I'm like, what? What have I chosen? What are my life choices? How have my life choices led me to this drunken state on a hotel floor drinking mustard beverage?
Don't worry. I firmly believe that you can't laugh at anybody else unless you can laugh at yourself. Yeah. I too have had a low moment when I was eating bull balls live on this show. So it was like, okay. Yeah.
I mean, we have our moments. That's what makes life interesting, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we gotta have those moments. So that's what gives us such good stories to tell, you and I think.
Right. So wait, what's this mustard story?
Okay, so here, in my defense.
In your defense.
I went with a girlfriend down there, and we had a plan. We said, we're going to go to Texas Frightmare. And have you ever been to Texas Frightmare?
I have not, but I know this is going to be great because you started with, I have a plan.
Okay, so you need to go. Like, right as soon as we get off this tonight, buy you some tickets to this thing, because it is the epic horror event in Texas. Okay. And it's May 1st to the 3rd. It's, you need to do that. Or what are you even doing? It's amazing.
Okay.
So, but it can be, how conventions can be. It can be expensive. And I appeared there as a professional one year. And then last year, I'm like, I'm writing screenplays now. I need to speak to the Raimis were both there, Sam and Ted Raimi. I'm like, this is it. I'm going to go there and not have a booth. And I'm going to actually speak to people. And so we went in and we were in the hotel room. We're like, okay, so this is our plan. This is the money we can actually spend on celebrities, which is not much. I'm not going to pay you a bunch of money to sign my whatever. This is the money we're going to spend on alcohol. Like, we brought a bar with us into the hotel room. Drinks at a convention are $20. Yeah. We're not doing. So we had a budget and we had a plan, and we were not going to get really, really sick. So we had a schedule. Like, we were planners. Yeah. And that lasted about 3.2 seconds. And we got there, and I'm like, that drink is glowing green. I must have 20 of those. And so my friend, who got very motherly about 2 hours in, she's like, we need to slow down. We need to drink some water.
What's a glowing green drink? Was it like absinthe or something?
It was something, and they had it. It's called a Green Goblin. I don't even know what manner of alcohol was in it. I don't even remember.
Let me Google this real fast. Green Goblin. Okay.
Goblin. And so she's like, we need to stop drinking. And she took my money from me, so I couldn't go buy another drink. And I won't be told. Like, I can't be told anything. So I had a bottle of water in my hand, and she's like, you're not buying drink until you drink water. And so I looked at her, and we also had hot dogs because you got to eat. And I looked her in the eye, and I'm like, I can't drink this water. It has mustard in it. And she's like, Jay, you're literally putting the mustard in right now as I'm watching you. And I'm like, be that as it may, I can't drink mustard water. So I'm going to have to go buy some alcohol. And all the people around us, this woman was there with her husband. She's like, that's brilliant. And she also, she put mustard in her water. So I started, it was defense. It was self-defense.
Self-defense.
Yeah, self-defense.
All right. I'm looking at the Green Goblin cocktail. Look, what, peach schnapps, coconut rum, sour apple pucker, vodka sweet. How did it taste? It just tastes sweet.
Tasted like a hangover. Okay. Tasted like a good hangover. And I'm going to completely blame the Green Goblin for Barbara Hershey, who for some reason was at Texas Frightmare, and now has a photograph with us and our werewolf baby doll. Barbara Hershey questioning her life choices that night as well. So did you party with these people? So you actually hang out with some celebrities, some big people? Yeah, so Frightmare, they're on the floor. So any other convention, they're usually behind curtains, and it's very stealthy. They're down in the business at Frightmare. Like, you can walk in them. When I was actually working, I think that was 3 or 4 years ago, I went to meet George Romero as well.
Oh, sweet.
Which I did get. And he was awesome. And I actually got my publisher arranged for me to have a little powwow with him. So I got to speak with him for a few minutes about the business and how it was working with Stephen King on Creepshow and stuff like that. And met Tony Todd. And meeting Tony Todd was pretty phenomenal because
right?
He heard there was an indie author in the house. And he's like, there's an author and she's, UK publisher and blah, blah, blah. And had me page. He's like, did Jae Mazer come into Ballroom B, come to Tony Todd's table? And I'm like, great, I'm being arrested for something. But it was Tony Todd, like, hey, I wanted to meet you and I can leave my Candyman's voice on your voicemail. I'm like, oh, yes, please. It's nice to meet you, Mr. Todd, sir.
Oh man, so you did okay, wait. I mean, come on. That's awesome. Did he do it? Did he do the Candyman?
He sure did it. I mean, it's not a huge deal because he was charging people $10 to do it, so anyone could really, if you wait in his line.
But did he give you a freebie? That's the thing.
He gave me a freebie. Everybody was giving me freebies. It was great. I met the kid from Pet Sematary. The Gage from the original Pet Sematary is an adult. He's not as adorable as an adult.
Yeah.
He's got some issues. But yeah, I met a lot of really cool people. And every year they have, so this year they have Clive Barker, who I met last year. He was really cool. I met Elvira this year. They've got.
I'm gonna have to go next year. What May what 1st to 3rd? Yeah,
1st to 3rd.
I could do that. I could do that.
They
easily.
have Clive Barker. Who else was big this year? Oh, they got Tony Todd and Virginia Madsen. They got the Candyman crew. They got big. I can't list them all right now. I can't remember, but they have some big. That Raimis. They got Bruce Campbell, of course, with the Raimis.
Yeah.
Cast of Scream was there the year before. It's too much information story for you. Went to the bathroom.
It's all right. It's all right.
When I came out of the bathroom, my friend made me, those werewolf babies that you see, they're really realistic. I'm like, you can make that and sell it. And she did, and it was really good. So I carried it.
A werewolf baby?
It's a doll, but she uses sculpting clay to make it look like a werewolf. Everything I say sounds really ridiculous now that it's out loud.
But it's hilarious. I like it. I like it in a good way.
So I have a werewolf baby. His name is Lazarus Zebediah. And I took him to Frightmare with me. And I had him in a little onesie that said Mommy's a Little Devil. It was really cute. And I went into the bathroom and realized I'm holding what do people with infants do? So I just hung him on the door when I was peeing. And as I was coming out, I heard this voice. Oh my gosh, look at that werewolf. That's one of those werewolf babies. And this woman comes up and she's like, can I hold your werewolf baby? And I handed him over and I'm watching her bouncing this thing like a baby. And I looked over at my friend, Jess, and I'm like, that's that's Jenna Jameson. And she's like, yeah, what? Jenna Jameson holding my wolf baby. I'm like,
Jenna Jameson held your wolf baby. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's holding my wolf baby and she has butt implants, which I didn't know, but it became very evident.
That's okay. That's okay. It happens.
And I was like, it's my Jenna Jameson. And so then, with all the Green Goblins fueling us, we had to go around, and Tracy Lords was there. We're like, she can also hold the werewolf baby. And she loved it. Everybody loved that werewolf baby. Man. It's a time.
See, this goes to my other question for you, is that you said earlier that I think you used the word hustle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your hustle.
My little hustle.
I mean, the first time we actually met was actually at Scary Dad's last year.
Yep.
So, from my experience, from what I've seen, from what I've listened to you here and hearing your stories, you're hardworking. I mean, you're working real hard.
I'm working. And you know what? I make a lot of fun of myself, and I go out and I have a good time. But I'm serious about this business, and I like the writing, and I like putting out quality stuff, and it's a lifestyle for me. Like, I like the horror. I like mingling with the horror people, and I like watching horror movies. I like reading horror books. It's just, it's something near and dear to my heart. So as much as at times I'm not seeming serious, that's just who I am. It is something
it's
that...
It's okay to goof around. I mean, it's to have fun, but also be professional at the same time. It sounds like you can, you have that switch.
That's the thing is, I'm not 18 years old, so I do know when to drink Green Goblins and mustard water and speak with Janet Jameson and do well.
Right.
But then I also know that the next day I went into Frightmare 100% business. And I know when I'm talking to directors and publishers and mingling, I actually met my cover artist for my newest book at Frightmare this year, the Goblin Water or Green Goblin Con, and met him. And it's been a wonderful collaboration. Like I never dreamed that I would have a book that's custom illustrated. And I walked by, and what drew my attention to him, his name is Robert Elrod, is he had sketched a picture that looked just like the Slua in my other story, and what I imagined her to look like. And I'm like, I'm going to need to purchase that. And do you do book covers? And he said, yes. And I said, well, I'm working on a new book called The Sisters 3. And we have a werewolf and a Vontex in it. Do you think you can do that? And he's like, oh, I would love to do that. And it, of course, has come to fruition now. And it's been an excellent collaboration. Different screenwriters, producers, talking to them about the whole process. It's been fruitful. Okay. Every convention, Frightmare especially.
And one question I'd like to ask horror authors in particular, because there's a lot of authors that listen, a lot of aspiring authors that listen to the show. Is it working for you? Like, are you able to make a living off your work? Is it paying some of the bills?
Well, I like gold bricks. I like to sit on gold bricks. So it doesn't quite, I can't drive my custom Lamborghini on my book sales, if that's what you're asking. It's lucrative, but it's like golf. I use the golf analogy. You have to keep working. Golf is a sport where you get paid for your success. You have to win to get paid, or you don't make money. So unless you're Stephen King, or even at this point, I think Anne Rice, you can't just sit, or J.K. Rowling, you can't just sit back and let the money flow in. Like, there constantly has to be working. You have to be producing. Mm-hmm. You can't show up 2 years in a row to a con with the same stuff. You have to show new stuff. Your readers are going to want to see new stuff. Yeah. You're going to want to up your game. You're going to want to get better. You're going to want to be different. You're going to want to try different things. I just tried the screenplays early this year, and that's working out really well for me. But you constantly have to be, even traditionally published, where I could sit back and I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to touch formatting. I could just sit back and have a martini. You still have to make a name for yourself. You still have to be a brand. People have to know who you are to give a shit. Like, it's not, people know who Anne Rice is. People know who Stephen King is. People know who,
Clive Barker.
Clive Barker. What's that idiot's name? I'm sure she's lovely. I'm sure she's not an idiot, but the author of 50 Shades of Grey.
Shit.
People know who she is.
I would reference her all the time, but now.
And I diss her, and I'm sure she gives a shit as she rolls around on her mattress full of money. What Jae Mazer thinks of her writing.
Right.
But it's, they have a presence, and that's word of mouth. And I find that, like, my first book did okay, and then my second book did better, and the first book started selling more. Third book, it just grew and grew and grew and grew with every book. And some people who would have never touched the first book based on what it is really like the more of the Lovecraftian stuff I have in, say, Pal Taylor. Like it, and then buy the subsequent books because of it, and it's just gotten it just continues to grow. But I have to continue to grow it. I have to keep writing. I have to keep things interesting for people to want to read it.
True.
Yeah,
and I think it was E.L. James. E.L.
James, yeah. That's her. Yeah. I'm sure she's lovely. We love you, E.L. James. Maybe not your right.
Well, and her story started off as not Twitter. It was a Twilight fan fiction, so it wasn't even its own thing. People liked it. She could make money off it, not as a Twilight fan fiction, but if it was her own thing. So she changed all the character names and all that, whatever. But okay,
yeah, good for her. If that's again her hustle, that's a good thing. And if she finds joy in that, and some people love those books, so more power to them. I'm not one to talk. Do you know what NaNoWriMo is? I'm sure you do. That National Novel Writing Month.
Yeah.
So I was challenged 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago now? Someone in the Writers Guild here in Houston was like, I challenge you. Like, people like to bet me to do stuff. Like, I'm not going to take the bet. And they're like, we challenge you to write a romance for NaNoWriMo. And I'm like, oh, you think I can't do it? I'm totally doing it. And so I started to write this romance book, and then someone lost a head. And now and it turned very quickly from romance to dismemberment. Like, it just happened. And so I just went with it. And in the end, I had this manuscript and I sent it to my publisher in the UK as a joke. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And she came back and she's like, we will sell the fuck out of this. She's like, but we need to change your name. She's like, you need to have a pen name on this.
Wait. For real? Is it out?
It's out.
Do you want me to say the pen name or not? You don't want me to say the pen name?
You can say the pen. You know what? It hasn't really been a big secret because I do sell it at conventions and everybody buys it. It's erotica. She calls it. It's erotic horror. And like, it was supposed to be erotica, and it was supposed to be a romance. So I did make an effort to write a love story, but it's just porn with horror.
Pavarti Taylor, is that you?
J.M. Adler is my erotica writer name.
J.M. Hadler.
Adler, Adler.
Adler.
And the book's name is Notch. And it is available for sale if you want some erotica, because that's out there. And people come to my booth at Comic Palooza, and I tell them all about this.
I think I saw this on your booth at Scary Dad's.
Yeah, you sure would have. And people are like, ooh, that one's an award. Crohn's an award winner. That's great. Oh, Chrysalis and Clan won Best Fiction. What's that one? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it catches the eye right away.
Like,
the cover does.
Yeah, so it sells well. So I shouldn't be sneering at E.L. James. It's money. It's good. And it's a good ghost story. It's a good ghost story. It's erotica. But there's ghosts in it. And it's,
yeah. It's like, and people like that, you know?
People do.
Clive Barker, Ghost is famous because of that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, right? Clive Barker, he has gratuitous sex in all his books, and they're entertaining. It's great. That's the basis of Hellraiser. So it works. It works for people. I'm friends with a duo of ladies here that run a podcast, the Sex and Horror Podcast, because it does come up quite frequently. That is a theme that does come up. I should have tried to trademark the term erotica, although I guess my publisher came up with that. But it's a thing. It's a thing, and people like it. So
yeah, be careful with that. You trademark it and you try to enforce it, and next thing you know, you're on the shit list. Like, I think that happened with Romance of Cockygate.
It did. That was hilarious. Watching all these people fight over that, I'm like, you're really bored. Like, you're really bored. If this is what are we trademarking words now? Like, I just say it's trademarked and pretend that it is, and like that's my word.
I know. Imagine someone to trademark the word dark or hard.
Yeah. Especially in like for whatever that was in romance. What was the word? I can't even remember.
I think it was cocky. Literally cocky. The word cocky.
You can't trademark that word. That's a word. Like, you don't need to trademark that word. People can use that. We're going to use it. I do have a word that I use that people bring up. I think I've used it in primarily all my books, and I use it in my everyday life. Uncunted. And this is
uncunted?
Yes, it's a verb.
To uncunt someone?
No, it's when you become uncunted. So if you piss me off to a certain, and I'm a calm person. I have my father's calm.
Okay, yeah, I'm following this, but I'm trying to figure out, how do you uncunt?
But if you push my buttons, like if you piss me off enough, I will become uncunted. And that is a calm, homicidal rage where I'm not a yeller. I'm not a screamer. But I'll fuck you over. Like, I will, like, don't get up in my face or I'll become uncunted. And I will make you look like an idiot. So I sound really horrible, but you have to push me really far for that to happen.
Now, but, how does it differ from being cunted, though?
So cunted is that's a happier thing, right? Like, that's more of a happy verb. Like, that's la 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 la. Uncunted is like you're coming unglued. It's like a really crass way of saying you're coming unglued. You're going postal. And And I have characters like Crone. Abby comes uncunted in Crone, and all hell breaks loose. So it's you know what? When you read it in a sentence, you're like, that should be in the dictionary. That's a word that needs to be in the dictionary.
I like your dictionary, and I have more questions. Hold on.
Yeah.
You said cunted is a happy. Okay. Now this is like the past tense of cunt, right? Or is it like
kind of? It's verbiage, right? So you have to become uncunted would be to lose your mind on someone. Okay. If you're becoming cunted, it's more of the reverse, right? Like,
yeah, that I'm following. So
yeah. So
I'm curious. I always thought the word cunt was like for someone that was being unpleasant.
Yeah, but you know what? There's many more pleasurable connotations to the word cunt as well, and that's kind of
there are. I would imagine. I mean,
yeah. So that
cunts are pleasurable. They can be,
right? So I think I've removed that negative connotation unless
you reverse. I gotcha. I'm following.
I reverse that, I guess, because it's such a power. That word gets people's attention. So I had a gentleman the other day, I will not elaborate on the circumstance, felt that while speaking to me, he could also be touching my face and touching the small of my back. This is a virtual stranger to me. And it was at a children's function as well. And it was a dad, fat suburban dad. So I went.
He was just handsy with you?
He was real handsy.
He was in texting too, right? He's like, "Oh, hey there, Jae Mazer. Let me just put my hands on
that was
small back."
The deep kind of Kansas drawl. And I'm like, so listen here, John Doe. If you keep doing that, I'm going to come uncunted. And you know what? That got his attention. There was no more touchy Jay at the children's function.
Maybe just more. Well, it worked.
Like, I think that he was mostly trying to figure out what precisely that meant, and was that a good? Like, was that an open door for him? I don't know if he was sure about that, but it stopped him in his tracks. So he was just like, I don't know what she means, but I'm weirdly frightened right now.
Do I want to become uncunted? Do I not want to become uncunted?
Like, is that a good thing? Is this what I was fishing for, or is this maybe the opposite of what I was fishing for? Sure. So he might be somewhere out there confused still to this moment. But
I have to ask you, Jay, have you? What's the best way to get rid of a body? Do you know?
Best way to get rid of a body, I find, probably leave it in an aisle at Walmart.
Oh shit! Don't even just leave it there.
Nobody's gonna know. Slap that Muriel on a rascal and put it in Go and let her drive around Walmart. Who's gonna stop her? No one wants to talk to Muriel.
No one.
Put her in a blur jumpsuit. Give her the big leopard print eyeglass rims. Send her on her way. That's the best way to get rid of her.
I would hate to be an EMS tech who has to deal with. Now I'm thinking about all those EMS techs, all those poor techs that have to deal with hauling the big, body positive. But it's just a lot. And when they're dead,
it's a lot.
It's so much more. It's so much more.
You go behind the scenes of one of my favorite movies, the movie Seven with Morgan Freeman. The guy that ate himself to death, Gluttony.
Yeah.
You saw that movie. Who had to deal with that? How do you get that guy out of that? Like, you think about that. You're right. Like the EMS, do you have to cut him in half to get him out of the house? I think you have to cut him in half.
You have to. Oh my God, that's horrible. Why don't you just burn down the house? You can't burn it.
You know what? You're right. I think just a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Deal with it in the morning. Because with that, you could cut the Gluttony guy in half, but then aren't you going to spill spaghetti everywhere? Like, aren't you going to drag him out in a pile of spaghetti and intestine? Like, I just don't have a tidy way of doing that.
Oh man, I don't think that people really think of all this stuff all the way through. I mean,
this is why we write the horror. We think about the spaghetti guts spilling out when you have to transport them out of the house. Yeah,
you do.
Got to think about those things.
What is your favorite horror movie?
Oh my goodness. Well, this may surprise you after all this talk.
Turn that video feedback on, because I think the internet's working better now.
Let me bust this up now.
Now it just looks like I'm just talking to myself on the screen. Okay.
Am I back on? I don't even know. I don't.
You're back on now.
Favorite horror movie is actually. I don't even. I class it as a horror movie to me, but I love Silence of the Lambs. I think Buffalo Bill is brilliant. villain. I don't think Hannibal Lecter, of course, is the villain. Not at all. It's a really constructed movie. The book was questionable. I didn't prefer the book. The movie was good. I am one of those people who love The Shining. I thought The Shining was great.
A lot of people do.
A lot
of people prefer. There's some people who prefer the movie over the book.
I am one of those people. I did like the book. So this Doctor Sleep coming out November or something. And I read the book and I did like it. I would have ended it a little bit differently at the overlook.
Well, that's a whole other conversation. Stephen King and his endings. But
yeah. The guy can't. I mean, he doesn't care what I think. He has a lot of money, but he can't end a book. He can't end a book. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? His book revival. I threw that book across when I was done because it was this great build up. It was like a Frankenstein kind of story, and in the end, it was like alien ants. I'm like, are we really doing? Did I get fucking punked? Are we really doing ants? Whatever, Steven. But yeah, I don't know. I like The Shining. I like the movie. The book was really good, and it's very different than the movie. But the movie just is Kubrick, and it's Kubrick. He does job with it. He did Eyes Wide Shut as well, which is I mean Clockwork Orange. These are horror movies of a different breed. Brilliant. Best horror I've seen in a while is not movies, but series that are coming out. I don't have Shudder right now. But Netflix and Prime are pumping out some really badass horror collections. I don't know if you watched Marianne, the French.
People talk about that. I need to be watching that. I'm still watching that. I'm still behind. I'm watching Ash versus Evil Dead.
Oh, okay. I do advocate as well. I like Bruce Campbell. But this Marianne. And I mean, chainsaw can't lose. But this Marianne, it's French, so subtitled, and usually foreign movies are quite good. This blew my mind. Like it was horror. I don't get. I mean, it's me. I watch a lot of horror. I don't get freaked out. I was freaked out by this. The visuals and. There's some jump scares, and it's about a witch, but it's not like me. Not that I'm missing my own book, but is there a witch hiding in the bush? She ended the stair. It's like the woman walks into the room and she's like, hey, I'm the motherfucking witch. I'm gonna fuck you up, here's some tea and some animal skin. Let's do this thing. So it was right out there. It was very non-traditional. It wasn't what I expected at all, and it was brilliant. And an Indian series that I watched this week called Ghoul. About a torture facility in India where they would keep prisoners of war to torture information. And they get this guy that's head of this terrorist cell. And you think, oh great, this is going to be torture, and I'm not really into the whole like hostile and all that. But no, summon this ghoul, this GHU. Which is a really cool creature in itself. And he takes care of business in this place with all these guards. And that's a really epic. That's an epic show as well. Horror. I'm telling you, they got it going on.
You know, we had a guy on last night. He talked about Peruvian horror. Well, I think he might be the industry over there because he's like. There's not much of a film industry, but he's like the one guy where they're making movies, I guess.
And they do. I haven't seen it, but I've heard some of the Peruvian horror coming out is really good. Anything foreign, you're pretty much guaranteed to win right now. And I don't know if that's because it's harder to produce stuff, so they're only getting the best, right? Like it's harder to fund stuff like that. Eyes of My Mother that came out a couple of years ago. It's a black and white. It's Portuguese or Spanish. Horrifying. Very artsy.
You know what? And you would think with the way things are going with Hollywood, with them bleeding dry comic book movies to the point to where, man, they're going to be losing the return, right? I mean, you can only bleed it out so much. You're running out of material. I'm personally tired of Spider-Man. I don't want to see another Spider-Man.
I don't know why they need to do. I know we have 80 different Spider-Man, and I mean. Confession time. My second confession. Number one, I haven't seen Hocus Pocus. I'm not a huge Marvel fan. Sorry, everyone. I don't dislike it. I'm not going to run to the theater on opening night. I thought Game was a hot mess.
You saw what?
Endgame.
Endgame was a hot mess.
Hot mess. Didn't prefer it. That's my preference.
It's a video game. It's practically a video game. You're watching a video game, you know?
You really are. And it's a star-studded cast, and that's what you're going to see. You're going to go. You want to see everybody all together kicking ass. You know. Enough.
I mean, but the DC universe, they had blunders too. I mean,
Oh, they can't make any more than garbage. No offense.
I did like was cool. I mean,
Wonder was the only redeeming thing, and even that whole the mess that was Batman versus Superman. When she came down, she joined the party at the end. Like, okay, now let's fuck shit up. Like, she was really good.
See, I have not seen that movie all the way through. I just watched clips of it.
Don't waste your life on that.
I just watched clips of it, and the clips I watched was like Batman fighting Superman. I was like, oh, well, I could just YouTube this part. I could just YouTube this and watch this. Okay, but that's the fight. All right.
Was it Justice? I think it was Justice League, the only good part of Justice League. And I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. And I mean Jason Momoa. What a mess that movie was. Oh man, hard path. But when Clark Kent comes back to life, spoiler alert. And
that much of spoiler alert.
Yeah. So he comes back pet cemetery for about 5 minutes. Now that was the only redeeming part of that movie. It was like, oh, Clark Kent is literally church from Pet Cemetery back
for a little bit.
And he's real pissed. He's gonna kill everybody, including Arthur Curry, who needs to die. But that was the only part of that movie.
And what was getting at was that with the way Hollywood is right now, and bleeding dry a lot of stuff and rebooting everything, they're running things dry. They might as well just let the indie come in. Just let new talent come in because they're going to need it.
Because they're working hard. They're working harder to try and because they're battling blockbuster budgets. Even when movies are not blockbusters, they have blockbuster budgets. So you're dealing with, and especially in the horror genre, you're dealing with people who have the ability to utilize special effects. And then you have the indies who do not have that money, but they're trying to get that same effect just using red and using tension and using dialogue and lighting and simple things like that. And it tends to be more effective now because we're so inundated with the highly CGI horror, which is fine too. I don't mind that. But then these lower budget where you're getting puppets and you're getting aesthetics on actual older actors like the Witch and Marianne. She's like years old. And they do and her husband is an old guy, and they him all up to is worshiping the devil, and it's horrifying, and I bet that was a low budget. I think it's a low budget Netflix series, and it's highly rated. So you gotta watch it. Yeah, you'll mind blown. I'm gonna check back with you. I'm gonna check back with you and see.
Yeah,
you like. Yeah, it's so
good. You have to. You got to make sure I watched it.
I'm gonna have to check in and make sure that you're not letting me down with that one, because I guarantee you will not regret that decision. Go back and watch Batman versus Superman. Regrets. Nothing but regrets. You will regret the waste of your time.
All right. Well, I'll do that. All right. We're at the end of the time here. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this. If so, press the like button, share, subscribe. You guys, take it easy.